So the next part we're going to work on, mate, with Titan is working on his sliding stops, okay? Fencing him and stopping him. What do I mean by fencing him? It's a term that people, use in the NRHA industry. It's about teaching the horse to run straight to the opposite end of the arena, teaching the horse to run controlled. What do I mean controlled? He builds speed only when you tell him. Like a great rundown to a sliding stop looks like a speedboat taking off. Like if you start a boat in the water and you take off, not real fast, but a little bit, the nose comes up. And the more you put the throttle down on that boat and the faster the boat goes, the more the nose, in theory, comes up out of the water. And that's how you want it to build to a stop, is that you start slow, you build faster, 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 bang. Whoa, and he slides into the dirt. What you don't want to have the boat do is build faster, 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 then start slowing down and then stop. Because when you take your throttle off the boat, what does the nose of the boat do? It just falls back down. Well, that puts all the horse's weight on their front end. It takes all that collection you're building and dumps it on the horse's head, dumps it on their front end, okay? So, you don't want your speedboat to just go from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds, and you don't want it to go slow, 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 take off, stop. It's got to be a long, gradual building of speed. Sounds relatively easy, but it can be a little bit more difficult in reality to teach it to horses. Some horses pick up on it quickly, other horses it takes more work, etc. Once the horses know that you're going to stop 3/4 of the way down the end they're in the arena, then a lot of them, what they'll do is they'll anticipate the stop and start slowing down or trying to stop before you ask him. Another term for it is called Squatching. So that's where you need to take them all the way to the fence. So that's why they call it fencing, is that you run the horse up to and have him slide up into the fence. Now, obviously you don't want the horse to hit the fence and so forth. Now, I'm not going to say every once in a while one will slide a little bit too far and they'll get crammed up into that fence a little bit, but it's just like rollbacks or any other exercise. The horse needs to be responsible for knowing where the fence is and making sure he applies the brakes at the right time to do that. So if they bump into the fence a little bit every once in a while, I don't worry too much about it. Of course, I don't want them to crash into it, but if they just bump it with their nose, they'll learn to respect that fence and pay attention to it next time. I'm real big in my method. I don't babysit the horses. They're big enough and ugly enough to take care of their own feet. So I'm gonna start out just going back and forth a few times, making sure he's running straight, running relaxed, confidently, listening to me, and then whatever corrections I need to make, I'll explain what I'm doing. So I don't know, what he's going to do necessarily today, good or bad. So I'll just kind of make the corrections as I see them. Okay. I've got front bell boots on him. Now that I've started stopping him a lot faster and a lot more intensely, I keep bell boots on their front feet to stop them from overreaching. And sometimes when they slide, they'll overreach and reach up and grab the bulb of their front foot. And he's not shod up front. I keep most of my horses barefoot up front if I can. I'm not always going to do it, but if I can, I do it. They'll rip off the front shoe if they catch that shoe with their hind foot, or they'll go ahead and kind of cut into that bulb a little bit with that shoe, and it just kind of like stubbing your toe. It kind of hurts them, so obviously they don't want to stop anymore if you do that. I've got rear skid boots on him to protect him. This particular ground in this arena is really, really good for not wanting to burn a horse's fetlocks or hocks when they stop, even big stopping horses. I don't know what it is about this particular ground, but it's really good. There's other ground that you'll stop horses on that you really need skid boots. I put them on more as a safety precaution, not that I necessarily need them that much, but more of a safety, okay? Right, yeah. So my goal is to get him to run straight to the other end. I'm just gonna not go fast the first couple of times. So my goal is to get him to run straight to the other end. I'm just gonna not go fast the first couple of times. What do I mean by not go fast? Just make sure he's waiting for me, he's listening. I don't want him leaning left or right, and I just kind of let him wander up into this fence. And I don't mind if he breaks down a little bit there. Typically when I get to the fence, I'll soften their nose and neck down with my legs like that. And then what I'll go to do is I'll jog typically 2 to 3 circles here. I never let my horse come down to the end of the arena and rest very much, because that's what makes them want to get in a hurry to get down there. Where if they know they're going to do 2 or 3 little circles down here and basically do a few push-ups, they're not so much of a hurry to get down there. Put my leg back, kiss. Right there, he's being a little lazy. So let me just fix that. So I kind of squatted him with the end of my rommels. So again, as he's getting closer to being shown, I've got to go from a standstill and a walk straight into the lope with no trot strip. So I'm getting a little pickier about that now. Push his hip up. Better. Not perfect, but better. I'm going to go a little bit faster. Squeeze. How does Titan know to go faster? By my legs. When I squeeze a little bit with him, that's his cue. That's his cue to go faster. Because he can't hear me cluck, I squeeze, release, squeeze, release. Every time I'm going to go faster, I squeeze. Every time I want him to maintain that speed, I just relax my legs. And I do that with all of them, not just because he's deaf. That's kind of the cue that I like to use. So when I release my legs, it's a big dramatic difference from when I'm asking him to speed up and go faster. So I usually stay on the same lead until I'm happy with the stops on that lead, and then I'll change, then I'll move to the other lead. So trot 3 circles, 2 to 3 anyway. See, like right here, I don't like that. He's kind of pushing on me a little bit there, so I'll back him up. Let him think about that. Move forward again. There. So I'm going to go a little faster now. Now right there, I felt him trying to slow down back there. So I had to use my legs a little bit and drive him up into his face a little bit and say, come on, don't quit too early now. So that when they try to die on me a little bit, what do I mean by die, kind of shut their forward motion down too quickly, I move their feet when I get to the fence, and then I let them stop and rest. I don't want them to associate that fence with necessarily stopping. I want them to think, go up into that fence and keep your feet moving. So there's a fine line there between letting them slow down too early and obviously not letting them go, not slowing down enough and they bump into the fence. So there's a fine line there. I didn't like that. So now I'm going to go to 2 hands and fix that. He was just a little bit not collected, so I'm going to push him up, collect him a little bit here. Drive him up into his face. Squeeze. Good boy. That time there, he tried to shut down on me a little early as well, but better than last time. So when I come up into that fence now, but I'm going a little faster, I want to draw in his face as I'm going up into that fence, and I want him to get soft. I want him to get soft as he approaches that fence, which is the opposite of what they typically want to do, which is get bracy and stiff because that fence is coming up, okay? I don't always trot the circle, sometimes I'll walk it, but I always do something down here to make them think that they're not going to get a big rest down there, because if you rest them too much at the fence, they'll be in too much of a hurry to get down there. He's got to wait. Squeeze, relax. Squeeze, relax. Boy. That wasn't too bad there. So when he does kind of what I want, where I don't notice any signs of resistance there, Then I kind of just let him stand there and have a bigger reward there. Remember, the release of pressure is how you reward a horse. Pressure creates a desire for the horse to look for an answer. It's the release of pressure that teaches him that he did the right thing. So when he does something pretty good like that, now what I'm going to do is I'll back him up here. A little stiff there. But I'll back him around here. Put his butt up against that fence. And now I'm just going to let him wait here for 30 seconds to think about going back the other way. So I suppose what I'm saying is when I'm happy with how they're going up into the fence, they're doing really well, then I'll let them rest a little bit more. But you can let them rest facing that direction, the opposite way, and they'll never get in a hut. The more you rest them facing this way, the opposite, you know, where they're going to go, they always want to stay here, of course. But when you let them face the fence and rest them, they're like, man, I got to get over there. So I very rarely let them rest more than 20, 30 seconds with their head facing the fence. If I'm going to let them rest more, it'll always be their head facing the other way. I know it's a simple thing, but horses really respond to that, okay? Rightio. You do it again. A little faster each time. Right there, I had to help him a little bit. He was thinking stop a little more there. So let him rest here a little bit.